Welcome back. It is Thursday. My name is Thomas Meinert. I'm an agent with Remax Precision, and this is Thomas Talks on Thursday, my weekly live stream where I hop on and talk about things that interest me as far as things going on in the Des Moines market, Des Moines news, real estate, whatever that ends up being. And I answer all of your guys' questions. I post every Thursday morning. You guys can comment on that if you want your question answered. And of course, while I'm doing this live stream, if you have a question, throw it into the comments and I will answer it live. And if you go to the comment section, there is a link and you can call in and join in the conversation. So I got quite a bit of questions today. So let's just hop into it and get through some of these topics. I want to talk about this because I think it's kind of cool. This is a theater that existed when I was younger, the Ingersoll, and it is reopened. After a 22-year hiatus. I did not realize it had been that long. And that's making me feel old now that it says 22 years, and I remember when it was open originally. Anyways, 216-seat theater. The menu focuses on elevated Midwest comfort food, so that's always good to hear. And they got a variety of different shows to start out this theater being open, different musical acts, and they even have some comedy shows coming. And then they're going to start bringing Broadway shows as well, too. They are, if you go to their website right now, they're doing a special, too. The tickets are on sale for, I think, a pretty reasonable price. The tickets include your dinner. So it's a pretty good deal. Just go get a dinner and a show in a live, cool, historic building in the Ingersoll neighborhood. I wanted to bring highlight to that, though, because I think it is very, very cool. Let me check really quick. Oh yeah, we got reactions. We got people jumping in live. Do not be afraid to ask a question live. I want to talk about this. Iowa lawmakers and Kim Reynolds have been talking about cutting property taxes in the state of Iowa, and what could we do to solve this issue. I don't know if any of you guys know, but Iowa, of the 50 states in the United States, ranks 11th as far as property tax rate goes. So our property taxes in our state are actually fairly high. They are talking about a few different options. They haven't quite proposed exactly what they want to do. Kim Reynolds threw out the option of if you're over 65 years old and you're still a homeowner, having your property taxes freeze so they don't get any higher, which would really, really help older homeowners, and it would help them, plan out their retirement because they know if they own their home outright, they know their taxes aren't raising. They know exactly how much they're spending on their house for the most part, unless some emergency expenses come up. One of the other interesting things I saw is that they're basically talking about, and I think this is a really, really good idea. They are talking about increasing the homestead tax credit way more aggressively than it currently is. If you guys do not know, the homestead tax credit is a credit that you can get in the state of Iowa. Basically, you are applying with the state and saying, this is my primary residence, and you get a little bit of a tax credit for it. It is nothing crazy right now. They're talking about increasing it and giving actual primary homeowners a big tax benefit, and the landlords would be paying full taxes, which I think is really, really great as far as the inventory issues that we have in the state right now. I think it would encourage people to have a primary home because taxes all of a sudden got cheaper, therefore making homes a little bit more affordable. And I think it might, I don't know how much it's going to sway, but I think it might encourage some landlords to sell their properties as well, too. So I think that'd be really, really interesting. One of the other ideas that they're talking about is creating a cap for all counties and cities on how much they can increase property taxes yearly. I don't think that that's the best idea because history has shown whenever they make caps like that, the counties and the cities will just max out the cap, especially if it's like a fairly low cap. They're talking about 2%. To account for inflation and everything like that, a majority of smart cities and counties will just max it out as much as they can every year in hopes that in a down year they make money, in an inflation year they've been increasing it every year to make up for that difference. The other thing they were talking about, and the biggest thing that this is going to affect if they do decrease property taxes, is how it's going to affect our local schools. And I think it's interesting because they're talking about, yes, we're going to decrease property taxes, but we're going to fully fund the schools on a state level. And I think that'll get kind of interesting because what they're talking about doing is basically taking property taxes lower, funding the schools completely from income tax and sales tax. And I think that'll get interesting because income tax and sales tax are way more inconsistent than your property taxes are. So hypothetically, and I don't think this is necessarily happen, but hypothetically, if Iowa has, or if the United States in general has a recession and Iowa has a bad year as far as income taxes and sales taxes go, where are they going to come up with the money to give to the schools? The other concern I have about aggressively cutting property taxes is we might see kind of a inverse effect, not only in our schools, but just in systems and infrastructure in general too. Iowa, um, as far as per capita, has some of the most miles of road of any state. So there's a lot of roads, there's a lot of bridges that need to be maintained in the state of Iowa, and they are maintained mostly through our property taxes, mostly through taxes on gas. So if you're decreasing our property taxes, they're more than likely going to come up with a way to make up that difference in another one of our taxes. So I, it's just pretty simple. None of these plans are really talking about how are we going to save money if we're cutting people's property taxes, and that's kind of the big thing that concerns me. But in general, if property taxes go down, I think it'll make buying a home in Iowa even more appealing because we already have one of the lower median sales prices in the state compared to other states. So we already have affordable housing, and cutting property taxes would just make it more affordable. So I think there's definitely some positives to glean from this, and it's definitely something I would like to hear your guys' thoughts on it. I mean, I'll be honest, I don't have kids right now, so I'm interested to see how this plays out. I'm interested to see what happens to our schools if funding does get cut a little bit. And there's so much more that goes into this than just me talking about this for 5 minutes. So definitely, I would love to hear your guys' thoughts in the comments as well on this. Let's go into some of the questions that we got in. Maggie commented saying, "How should one go about building a custom home? Should you talk to the builder or the realtor first?" I think this is kind of an interesting topic because I think a lot of people with custom homes are tempted to reach out directly to the builder. They want to build a really good relationship, and they might know and trust a specific builder more than a specific real estate agent, and for that reason, I don't really blame them. So let's go to Maggie's first question here. How do you go about building a custom home? Well, the first thing is you really want to make sure you have a clear understanding of what you want. And how do you get a clear understanding of what you want? In my opinion, you walk through a lot of homes. So, and also in my opinion, I don't think someone should be building a true custom home unless it's going to be their forever home. But how I would start personally, I think the local home show expo is a great way to see a lot of our top line custom builders and to walk through floor plans and to see really cool finishes. And you can kind of pick and choose and make notes as far as what you like, what you want to see in your home. You need to have a clear definition of what you need, what you like, and what could potentially be pitfalls of your design and your build and everything like that. You also need to have a very clear understanding of what location you want to be in. But you want to see a lot of different builders and what a lot of different builders are going to do. And I think Obviously, because I'm a real estate agent, I'm going to say come out to a real estate agent. And I think the positives of doing that is a lot of real estate agents have walked through a lot of builders' homes. A lot of real estate agents have worked with custom builders before, and a lot of them might know builders that you don't necessarily know. The last time I had someone that was truly looking to do this and was truly open to a bunch of different builders ended up going with a builder that they had never heard of before. It was someone I had suggested to him and ended up being a really, really good experience for them. And ended up being a builder that was very, very good about understanding what my buyer wanted and understanding potential pitfalls of what my buyer was looking to do and made things a lot more functional for them. Other reasons that I think you should use a real estate agent is they can kind of be that sanity check for you throughout the whole transaction, throughout the whole process. They can be there to tell you this is normal in the process. This builder is trying to do something that isn't normal, and they can kind of protect you in that way. I think one of the major things that people want to reach out to the builder first for is they think that they will save a little bit of money. And I would tell you from my experience, that is not necessarily true. We got someone popping in. We got Zach Miller, the legend, popping in to say hi. Hi, Zach. How you doing, buddy? It's not necessarily true. Builders, they want to protect the value of their homes. So one of the processes of getting a home built or any home sold is the appraisal process. That is when you, as the buyer, your lender is coming in and giving a value of the home. And the builder wants to make sure that the home is going to appraise at the value that they are selling it to you for, so there's not any issues with the appraisal. Well, here's what happens. If 2 months ago they gave someone a discount because they didn't use a real estate agent, they build a very similar home 2 months later, the appraiser comes through and sees that that home was sold on a discount. They want that same discount for the second home, but on the second home, they didn't give the discount because that buyer brought an agent. So they run themselves into a situation where they can't necessarily give out discounts like that because they want to maintain the value of the home. Majority of good builders in the area too love working with real estate agents because, like I said, it's a sanity check, and the sanity check works both ways. You are talking to me saying, hey, am I crazy or is the builder crazy? The builder is calling you and saying, hey, your buyer is crazy. So it works both ways. And also, the real estate agent is going to make sure you are staying on timelines and everything like that as well too. So I definitely think that is a great option. Zach, I'm doing great, buddy. I appreciate you so much for joining in and hopping in live. I hope you're having a great lunch, and I hope you get back to installing some floor here. Let's go to the next slide. There is a lot of fun to be had with this question. I open this up to any question someone has. Crazy questions, real estate, Des Moines, whatever. This one is kind of leaning into the crazy side of things. Is cereal a soup? Christy asked this. Zach is saying that this is his favorite show. It's my favorite show as well, too. Is cereal a soup? Let's pull up the definition. A soup is a liquid dish typically made of boiling meat, fish, vegetables, and stock or water. So no, cereal is not a soup, but it does say typically. So I don't know. I really don't know. If I was a household appliance, what would I be? I'm going to say I got a KitchenAid stand-up mixer as a wedding present. I think I would do that because I am the most useful thing when it comes to bringing a sweet dish your way. It's a KitchenAid stand-up mixer. What's your favorite grocery store aisle? Whatever grocery aisle has the ice cream sandwiches. That's my favorite aisle. I love an ice cream sandwich. I could use an ice cream sandwich right now. We also have my dad popping in. He said hi. He did not say that this is his favorite show. So I'm kind of upset about that. But we got plenty of people watching live. That is very, very fun. like I said, in the comments, you can click on a link and you can call in if you want. You want to get crazy? You can call in. Let's go to the next question. What's the best coffee shop in the metro? I'm going to give a hot take here. It's Friedrichs is the best coffee shop in the metro. Zach Miller, Netflix deal in the future. Netflix did add podcasts at the beginning of the year. Lots of great podcasts. I think we're about a year or two away. Check. I think we're back. Okay. How would you describe Des Moines in emojis only? I don't know. Is it too mean of me to say that there would be some sort of corn stalk involved and then maybe just one tall building for the skyline and then like a friendly face? I didn't think about this question ahead of time, and that's all I really got is that. Dad, in case you were curious, Zach is not getting paid by me, but if I know Zach, he is working hard today and he's getting paid by someone. So that's all I got for that. Christy, thank you for the question. What event are you most looking forward to this year? Trisha asked this. Is it too stereotypical Iowan to say I'm looking forward to the state fair this year? They have a great grandstand lineup once again this year. Can't wait for it to be warm outside again, and I can't wait for all of the wonderful people watching. I think the state fair, as far as events that happen in Iowa, is the best event yearly. Also, Hinterlands has Cat's Eye coming this year. I don't think I'm going to Hinterland again, but that is kind of a cool artist for Hinterland again. I'll say that. I hope my dad's still watching because this is his question. Tim Miner popped in and said, what did you learn from working with your dad in the chimney business that pertains to buying and selling real estate? First off, I'm going to take a dramatic drink of Diet Coke before answering this question. I want to say my dad started his chimney cleaning and repair business, I think, when I was about 6. And growing up with someone that owned their own small business, Zach's popping in to say he learned that houses have chimneys. I did learn that at a pretty young age, that houses have chimneys. That was very, very important. Growing up with a dad that had a small business was really, really enlightening to me. And I hate to sound corny, but it was empowering at the same time. So learning that you can take this leap of faith and run your own business, and it is possible to sustain a family and a household just by having a small business, that you don't have to go work your typical 9 to 5. You can work for yourself. You can empower yourself, is one of the big things that I learned from my dad. I also learned a lot about Iowa Hawkeye football from my dad. But as far as what pertains to buying and selling real estate, chimneys, wood burning chimneys, are one of the more complex parts of a house. And I talk to buyers about this all the time that are looking at homes that have wood burning chimneys, because your typical inspector that comes in is not even going to know what is necessarily wrong with the chimney by looking at it, because there's a lot of detail that goes into it. A typical home inspector is going to tell you straight up, or at least the ones that I suggest are going to tell you that they can really only assess the chimney to tell you if it currently is a problem as far as water leaking into the house. They cannot tell you if the chimney or fireplace is safe to use. And I think that is kind of what my dad taught me. We got even more comments, and then I'm going to say thank you, and I'm going to bounce. This is great, though. I'm loving how many people are watching. Nick, my brother, is saying that I was 4 when he started his business. You couldn't just give me that 1 or 2 extra years and say I was a little bit older. You had to correct me. Thank you for that. Also, exposing my dad for child labor. I didn't really work that much. I mostly just rode along and asked him to go get McDonald's. So I don't know if that counts as child labor, but either way, I think the statute of limitations is expired on that one. So I think we're good, I believe. All right. Guys, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate everyone that chimed in. The comment section was lively today. It was a little bit distracting, but I think we had a great episode. If you're watching this later, please comment with any questions that you have. I will definitely answer them next week, and have a great weekend.